Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to part one of our building a persistent MCP server. How's everyone doing? Someone had correctly pointed out that the date was wrong, so I've changed that. uh, hey. Long time no see. Hey. How's everyone? Uh, Yeah, welcome to part one. For those who don't know me, my name is Utkarsh, but I prefer to go by UT. That's how everyone knows me. It's easier to remember as well. And I am a MLH coach and also a streamer. I have been here for approximately 3 years now, have done more than 100 streams. I was keeping account, definitely. And yeah, uh, I am excited to have you all, everyone in chat. Hello. Hey, hi, hello. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Yeah, as I was saying, I'm very excited for the stream because this was a very new domain even for me, building an MCP server. I did this like 2 months ago for myself, and I thought, it would be good to share. And in today's day and age, everyone, uh, you know, uses AI to build stuff, and that is very cool. I used AI to build stuff, uh, and I was like, whatever I think of can be built by AI. That is fine, but it would still be a good knowledge to share. So here I am with a completely new topic: building a memory MCP server. Okay, a memory management MCP server, let's say, and what it would be for folks who, let's say, don't know about MCP. We'll talk about MCPs. We'll talk about what this project is going to do, how it would look like, and uh, yeah, we'll utilize it. I am using my own every day, the one that I have built. So I'm going to make a mini version of it. Why not a full-fledged version? Because I only have 3 streams, and I really want to finish this off so that you have something which is kind of working model, which you can use and you can enhance on or build upon it. Okay, so I guess uh, yeah, that's what I am looking for in these 3 streams. I have 2 streams today, back to back, 4 hours. So this is the first one, and after this, like right after, I have the second one. But we will take 15 or 20 minute, like 15-minute break in between, 10-15 minute break in between, and then we'll start with the part two. And tomorrow, I have part three. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. We'll be able to complete it or not. Hopefully we are. That's why this is literally, I named it mini memory MCP, because I was like, not all the features need to go in there. We can do incremental builds, be agile. Okay, that's what all agile is about, right? Doing things incrementally. So we'll build it incrementally, we'll see it in action. We'll be writing some code, but you know we'll have Copilot turned on, so Copilot will be assisting us with the development, and we will kind of see if it is assisting us the way we want it to or not. Okay. uh, One more thing, this would be a very basic stream for beginners, so that is the target audience that I'm looking uh, for beginners. And ideally, I always say that you need to know Node.js or JavaScript or TypeScript, but again, not mandatory. Any AI coding tool will help you with it, but I will still try and explain what we are doing, why we are doing it, how that works, how that helps, so that if our basic understanding is quite right, then it would just help us in the long run. Okay. Yes, it is. It is. Uh, kind of Yeah, the speed at which we can develop it is really good, but at the same time, it's very stressing as well. Sometimes, like you're playing catch up. It's cool. It's cool. Uh, awesome. That would be a good idea. But yeah, unfortunately, yes, I can understand the capture part. Uh, I mean, if you have auth, if you are like, let's say auth, if you have auth kind of with your university, then possibly it's a good idea. Then you don't have to go through capture. Like, just curious. Uh, I haven't done a demo, but you know what? That would be a great idea. So let me do a quick demo of what we are going to build, like what the end result will look like. Uh, so the end result that I'm targeting is going to be something like this. Okay. So it would be a very simple, literally saving data. So imagine like saving your memories uh, in a persistent memory, not just in, let's say, a MD file, but more like something that is searchable. So you might have seen tools like, let's say, Serena, for example, or Claude Mem. Let me just So might have used or seen some tools like these, which already exist. Okay. So it's not a novel concept that I'm building here. It is kind of like things that already exist in the market. They allow you to save the memory and you can edit the memory as well. You can kind of structure out the memory about a project, for example. So let's say I am building this mini memory MCP. Okay. And I don't want my agent uh, to kind of go and read through all the files again and again on every startup. I wanted to know what are the major files that exist, what those files contain, what the overall structure is about, what the overall project is about, in as few words as possible, so that it uses as less tokens as possible. uh, Reminds me of the time I've heard about this. I've never sent a telegram myself, not the app, the actual telegram, where you had every word costed some money, right? So that is where we have reached. Every word that we write is equivalent to some tokens. And how can we express our idea in as less uh, tokens as possible? Okay, or as less words as possible, so that we end up using as less tokens as possible. So with that, the idea of these persistent memory servers came in, or like persistent memory came in, that we want to save our memory so that it doesn't have to scan through everything. It needs to be structured in a way so that the users can actually see what your AI agent is saving, and maybe restructure it, rewrite it, edit it, split it into two memories so that you can be specific about which memory to read, which memory not to read. So there's a tool like this. There is Claude Mem, which is kind of again a popular one. uh, Serena is also, I guess, a really popular one. Anything that you can run locally, these are all cool. Let me share links to these in the chat. Yep, there we go. Okay, so the links are in the chat. So we are going to build something very similar. Someone has said it's like Chat GPT's memory feature. It remembers things about you. If you go into Chat GPT in your profile, it says like this is what it remembers about you based on all the conversations it's had. If that is what you're referring to. So Yeah, kind of like that, but more something which can be more local to me. So if I have to express it in one word, I'm building a database which can be explored by my agent, which stores data that I want, which and I can structure it and restructure it, and that is why the UI. Okay. uh, yeah, so this is, yep, I will be using SQLite 3 just so that it is look like it's easier to set up locally. I had explored the idea of having some WASM, like let's say a DuckDB WASM. SQL also has a WASM. I did not know that until I actually worked on it. Like not actually worked on it, when I actually researched about WASMs. Uh, but yeah, so this is what we would be building, something which can be more local. These are definitely going to be much better, but just to learn, just to explore new things, I guess you can use these as examples and build out on your own, and that is what we are going to do. Okay, that's enough about me rambling. uh, again, I'll point out that this stream is meant for like beginners. If you know already all of this, if you know that there are better tools out there and whatever we are building is not going to be up to the mark, I'd still request you all to stay around and help others. If you know all about MCPs, still I'll request you around to I'll request you to stay around and help others learn the new things. Okay. uh, yeah, with all that said, anytime whatever code that we write, I generally have a very uh, write the code of live and push it so that you all can kind of work through it. If you build together, if you build with me, that would be great as well, so that if you see any errors, anything, we can all Google search it, ask our AI agents to help with these and everything. Okay. So all code would be pushed here. It is a public repository. As in the past, we have had done like so many projects kind of together. And yeah, I guess. So you can find everything here, all the previous streams that we have done, all the previous projects that we have built, and this is the new one. Okay. So everything will be here. Okay. Any questions, anyone, before we move ahead? So I will be building this live. Currently, I only have this much, but I gave you a glimpse of what the final output would kind of look like. Okay. Okay. I'm assuming no questions from anyone, so we can move ahead. Let me also show you another one. Like in terms of saving the data, you could do whatever you want. Uh, and when I say whatever you want, I mean more on the lines of uh, you can enhance the project to have like more data saving. You can enhance it to kind of what's the word, work on more memories, more things, save more data. So the one that I use day to day, so I've deleted most of the memories, but kind of something, this is something that I also built at one point. Okay, you can export memory, you can import memory as you would like. You can have like all the memories searchable global wise, project wise, file wise. You can have code snippets saved. You can have like agent details saved. You can have like, let's say, sessions, so that if you are running this uh, on a network, for example, then every user can have their own memories on their own sessions. Uh, would it be automated? So you could do both technically. So you can instruct the agent that you're using to always save memory to uh, like to this using the MCP protocol, or MCP, or you can manually actually go and create your own. Okay, so example, this memory was created by the agent, for example. Okay, and I can like, the initial was created by the agent, and then I went and changed like the user as a word. I can just write USR, and that means user. So I tried to reduce the tokens. I think even you pointed out at some point, uh, the SMS era, yes, where you have to write as less words as possible. Even still, right? The slangs. Okay, so you can edit it, but you can also ask your, like, whatever AI tool you're using to save the memory. So now for saving the memory, okay, now we start by talking. Yes, true, 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 true. But now it costs in tokens when you have data saved, right? So yeah. So now talking about what, how will an agent save these details and how does it work? So welcome the MCP. It's been quite a while. I know, definitely more than a year ago, possibly it was introduced. Uh, Things are moving so fast. I kind of not remember. But the MCP protocol, I think Anthropic came up with it, uh, and it was groundbreaking because before that, if you had to, let's say, if you had, assuming, okay, you're working on Figma, okay, you have designed a component, you have designed a button, and now you have to code it. So how can a communication happen between your IDE, in this case, let's say VS Code, to Figma, which is on the web? How can they communicate? uh, One would be, you can take screenshots, you can share it, and that was fine, that was okay, but it was still not quite good. Also, between developer tools and the AI agents, AI applications, or AI tools, how could we kind of have a conversation between them, or kind of bridge the gap where the AI tool understands the dev tool, or it understands the button that you have created on Figma, and understand what it looks like, uh, what the CSS variables for it look like. Should it be blue in color? What should be the text color? What would be the width of the button, height of the button? What should be the text on the button? Is it a primary button? Is it a secondary button? So all those things you really did not have a way for them to communicate unless you wrote it down. Okay, of course, you could write it down by yourself that, okay, I want you to create a button. The foreground should be like, let's say, blue in color. The background, like, foreground, background, foreground in this case would be the text color. Let's say text would be blue in color. The background should be like another hex code of blue. uh, I want the button to be max width of, let's say, 20 pixels. The max height would be of, let's say, 10 pixels, 15 pixels, 16 pixels, whatever. uh, so you can write this down as an instruction. But because you have done this already on Figma, is there a way to communicate between them? And what we needed was a structured communication. Okay, so structured communication are also way APIs work, right? So today, this is API week of Global Hack Week, and we're talking about APIs. So REST API, GraphQL API, these are all nothing but a way for structured communication. Okay, it is like, uh, two systems, something called as a front end, something called as a back end. They have decided together that we will follow this protocol, will follow this structure of communication, so that whenever you ask me for some data in some manner, I will provide it to you in that exact manner. So structured communication is how everything came up. We still have structured communication. Example, the HTTP error codes, these are structured communication. So you have your 200 code, which means, okay, everything is okay on the server side. You have your 404, that means something was not found. So these are again some protocols that we have set up, which is followed universally. You can go against the protocol, of course, at any point you want. You can say, oh, what if 200 meant bad request? What if 404 means everything is fine? Like, you could build something like that, and no one is going to stop you. You're just going against the protocol, and you could do that. But just to not have chaos in the world, we kind of build some rules or some guidelines, which, if everyone follows, it makes life of everyone easier. And that's where the model context protocol came in. Okay, I would say it's not I would say it is like an API. But what does AI agent need? It needs a way of communication. It needs kind of, let's say, an endpoint. Then it needs a prompt, and then it needs to know what would be the kind of output I will receive. And that is nothing but model context protocol. Okay, it is a definition, it is a structured communication, it is a guideline that every like apps are now following, to say that given these kind of prompts, you can get data for these prompts if you call this API endpoint kind of, and the data that you will receive would be of XYZ format. Now let's take an example that we will be using. Every time I give my AI agent a prompt saying that read the memory, read memory, okay, read memory of title, let's say npm install. Okay, so now reading memory is the API endpoint kind of. The prompt will be something along the lines of, whenever the user asks to read memory, then in that case you have to go and get data from this slash get endpoint. It will be called as read underscore memory, and the output that you will receive will contain a title, a description, and some tags. Okay, so now every time I say read memory, it knows that it has to call that kind of that API read memory. uh, it understands the prompt, and it then the kind of the response that it receives is going to be structured, so it knows which is the title in the response that it got back, what is the description, what are the tags in the response, and then it can work accordingly on based on that instruction. So it kind of counts as an instruction to this, right? So that is all about MCP, what is model context protocol. Okay, and AI applications, as it says, can connect to data sources. It could be databases, local files. You can have a JSON, which can act as some data. It can be a database, SQLite in this case. So think of MCP like a USB-C port for AI applications. Okay, as long as it is standardized. This is very important. USB-C provides a standardized way. Okay, so going back to our example of where we talked about Figma. Okay, so I now Figma has MCP connectors where you have to auth yourself, and then you connect to mcp.figma dot something something. I don't remember the whole URL. Then Figma tells your AI agent that these are all the API endpoints available. Those API endpoints are nothing but texts, right? Which are like read memory, not read memory, read component, write to component, uh, read a file, write a file, uh, delete a file, update something, update one part of the whole thing, update the whole file, uh, so on and so forth. It will give you some tools. Okay, these are the tools that your AI agent understands. So we have MCP endpoint, which is a URL. Then you have the second bit, which is all the tools that are available that I can kind of say are the API endpoints. And then you have the response structure, which could be structured in like some format, title, description, tags. It could be URL. It could be, in case of Figma, it would be, let's say, the exact URL to the component, the tokens. Okay, so the tokens would be in, like, when I say tokens, I mean color tokens in case of Figma. So when you design a button will have a border. So the CSS, okay, let's say CSS, the CSS of that component would be in the description, and some metadata which can help the AI agent to understand it better. So this would be the output. And so now when I tell my agent, like, uh, and Figma also gives you the prompt, okay? It also gives you the exact prompt, which has the URL embedded in it. So if you go on Figma and it goes like, oh, let you hit click on the button that you have designed, then on the right hand side, it will say, copy this prompt. And that prompt contains create this component uh, from this URL, which is present at this URL, something like that. And so now my AI agent will know which URL to call. Since MCP is connected, it will know all the available tooling, and that prompt contains the keywords which points the agent to use the correct API endpoints, receive data, and then build up upon it. So if all of this has been kind of confusing, I would say, uh, here you go. On the left hand side, we have AI applications. Could be anything. Could be, I think because Claude people created it, they have written Claude everywhere. But could be, let's say, Copilot in our case, right? Uh, Copilot or any agent that is running, it has to connect to, let's say, Google Maps. In between comes the MCP protocol, where our agent, uh, once we have manually connected Google Maps MCP with our AI agent, then it means, uh, whenever I say, find me the best places to stay, or best route to reach London, okay, from uh, Manchester. So best, like, the route to reach from London, sorry, Manchester to London. Then the keywords here, route, and location one, location two, these would be kind of the prompt, and then it would use the MCP to find the correct uh, endpoint from where it will receive structured data, and then it will respond back to the user. It is, like, again, a standard in this case would be, it's more like a guideline, right? So it's similar to like http standards exist. Not every, like, well, in today's day and age, everyone is going to be using http standard, but there could be other standards they could be using. I don't know if XML standard is a thing, but they could be using that. Okay, so it's a guideline that if you want to implement this, if you then please follow these guidelines, because then your consumer will not have to think more. They can just Google search. Like, if you Google search, I received 400 error. What does it mean? So because this is standardized, okay, this response applies to everyone. But suppose you are working with a company where 400 actually means good request. Okay, they have implemented it in such a way that 400 means good request, then this response is not helpful for you. All the companies are following 400 as bad request. Somehow your company decides to do 400 as good request. Then you are going against the recommendation. You're building your own, which is fine, which is completely okay. Uh, so similarly, MCPs are nothing but guidelines of how you can expose your data to other AI agents by following this structure, this protocol. So companies build their own MCPs. Okay. So example, Google has its own MCP for dev tools. So if you, let's say, you're building front end application and there are errors in your dev tools, One way was to copy paste the error to your AI agent, but now you can connect your Chrome Dev Tools, uh, Chrome MCP server, Chrome DevTools MCP, and it can read directly from your console. The errors that you see in your console can be read directly by your AI if you connect these two together. So it can then, of course, uh, debug it quickly without you even intervening and copy pasting the error. Okay, so that's what it gives you. MCPs give you this way to communicate with other tools in a structured manner. Structured is very important, as we have now learned. Okay, so we will be building our MCP server, which connects to our memory, our saved memory. Okay, and these memories can be written by us, or it can be written by the AI tools themselves. Okay, so the AI tool can write to the database by following a certain structure. They can read from database and they will know that the response will contain a certain structure. That's it. I don't know if I've shared this, but I will share it again. Yeah, there we go. So if you want to read more about it. Now, as with everything, there is of course an npm library. So if you want to create your own MCP service, you can, of course, build an MCP server, right? So multiple ways to do it. Python seems to be the first one here, but what we will be focusing on is TypeScript. Okay. So TypeScript, we will be using Express server to kind of have a REST API. We will be using the uh, npm library that these people have. It is the Model Context Protocol SDK server mcp.js. Uh, yeah, the library that we'll be using to create a new MCP server. Then we will be using standard IO, STDIO, okay, which means standard input output, or more like not a hosted URL, but directly connecting your AI agent to the exact file. Okay, so that is what we will be using, standard IO, STDIO server transport. So there are two types of transport, right? Not right. There are two types of transport. One is you tell your AI agent that, hey, you can find all the details about uh, the available API endpoints. The like you can run it locally and connect to it locally by STDIO, which is like literally file to file communication. The other way is having a URL. You can tell your AI agent that, hey, I want you to connect to this URL which is running, and that URL could be mcp dot localhost dot something. And every time I tell you to save memory, create memory, you have to go to that URL endpoint and uh, run, like, go to the particular API, get the response, or create a response. So get request, post request, kind of. Okay. And the third thing that it uses is Zod. So Zod is nothing but a way to what's the word? Manage your, not manage, not even structure. How can I explain it? So Zod is a library, okay, JavaScript library. It allows you to kind of run or check if the input or the output are following a structure. So example, if it's an email, okay, then it needs to validate that the email looks exactly like email. So it needs to have an at the rate symbol somewhere, uh, possibly have a dot somewhere. So after at the rate, then you have the company name dot something, right? So it needs to validate that structure. So if you say that, like in our case, an example, okay, if I tell us, if I write a validation of Zod, sorry, where I say that the title cannot be more than, let's say, 20 characters. So Zod will do that validation when I tell my AI agent to create the memory. Okay, it will do that validation on the input, or like the output, sorry, the output. And if it is more than 20 characters, it will throw an error. uh, Similarly, even while reading, okay, we can say that when our MCP server, when our AI agent reads a memory and it finds a title more than 20 characters, Zod will throw an error saying that is not allowed. It can only be 20 characters. Okay, if some of these things can be only numbers, for example, okay, so Zod can help us do that kind of validation. And again, we're using Zod because, well, very simply, we want to ensure that a structure is followed so that everyone who connects to our MCP server follows that structure exactly. Our AI agents know that structure so that they don't end, like I don't end up with like 500 characters of title and 2 characters of description. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So yeah, I don't know what is for Python. Like, what do they use for such kind of validation in Python? There seems to be typing. Yeah, that looks like something which is used on the Python side, and I'm not sure about the others. But yeah, so that is what we are going to use. What else? What else? What else? Okay, yeah, here we go. So here's one example of like getting alerts. Okay, so now for our MCP, this is the API endpoint. Whenever I say that what is the weather in California, okay, or what's the current weather in California, uh, then in that case, it that is the prompt, or the description that it gets the weather alerts for a state. And in this case, the state is California. The input will be, uh, it needs to have like a string of length 2 only, and the description is it has to be CA or NY, so it cannot type California. So now my AI agent actually knows that to get the weather alert, I need to send a 2-letter code. Okay, and this description helps it. Then the get alerts, it is the API endpoint technically for it. And then internally, it makes a request to some URL. It gets the response. If there is no response, it will receive this kind of response structure back. Or this is the response that it will show to the user. Okay, if it does get, uh, if there are no alerts, then this is the response structure that it will get. If it does get some alert for California, it will append to this, and the response structure will follow this, that there will be a type of text, and what the text exactly will be. Oh yeah, there's chances of heavy rainfall. I don't know if there's heavy rainfall in California, but yeah, whatever. uh, okay, heavy snow in California, is that a thing? But yeah, the response will be of this format. So now this has become literally, uh, endpoint, different descriptions depending on what the actual weather URL, like the weather, uh, like which is api.weather.gov. Okay, whatever that actually returns, we have now structured that response. So now I can ask my AI agent every time, what's the current weather in California, and it will tell me, okay, based on this. So it goes to a web, okay, a web server. It gets the response. The response is then structured for my AI agent to understand and then appropriately respond back to me. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of it. We'll be building something like this. And now let me see if there are any questions. Sorry, I missed chat while I was talking. uh, yes, yep, yep. uh, Oh, I think this is when I was thinking about what should I call Zod. Thank you so much, everyone. Uh, Pydantic. I don't know what that is. Prompts can be in such a manner uh, that the AI agent will then, like whatever it has learned. So LLMs predict the next best word. Okay, I ask it what is the current weather in California, and I have connected the weather MCP. The word current. Okay. Now that structures or based on everything that the LLM has learned, it will be like the current means today's, not what is in my memory when I learned this, but more like what is it today. Is there a way for me to communicate with the outside world? Okay, the current or get the current exactly today's weather data. Yes, there is. I have a MCP server connected. In that MCP, I have a list of tools. What is the most appropriate tool which corresponds to current? Okay, it could be today's weather data. Okay, current today, that is the next best synonym for current. Now, today's weather data, I can act, there is an endpoint called as today's weather data where it will send a request and get me response. It doesn't care about what the request is, it just invokes it. The on invocation there is literally a API call that happens, and the response comes back. Now the response that it receives back, it goes like, okay, it's a structured JSON. It has a type text, so it means whatever is the next bit, that is my actual response that I have received. That response is forecast for California is heavy snow right now, and that response is now shown to the user. Okay, or your AI agent derives from that response. Okay, uh, let's say current forecast is heavy snow. Best synonyms, or based on the initial instruction, what is the current weather? Is this what I want to show to the user? What are the next best words I can use to kind of show a structured response to the user's query? And that would be, yeah, uh, currently it's going to be heavily, it will be heavily snowing, so don't go out, something like that. Okay, so again, taking your one word, predicting the next best word, checking all the available tools or endpoints that it has, and uh, invoking that endpoint, which internally calls some URL, API URL, gets a response back, and then showing it back to you in a structured way. That is what it is doing exactly. So now, if you have access to, let's say, weather api.weather.gov, you can build your MCP server, which can provide the structured response to everyone, right? Or it can be your own, something that you have built. You can expose it as MCP for anyone else to connect to it. You will provide the list of tools available. Each tool will have a description of when to invoke this tool. So the AI agents will know when to invoke that particular tool. Does that help? Any other questions? Okay, in our case, like, well, if there are any other questions, please do let me know. But for the timing, let's move on. And I am going to start by doing two things. Okay, I'm going to create a package JSON. So this will be for the server. Okay, so this first one will be for the server. So, well, actually, there's an easy way to do it, to at least take away the boilerplate. So I can do npm init dash y. So this will ask me a couple of, it won't ask me a couple of questions. It will create it based on the current folder. So this is what it has created automatically. Um, there's mini memory MCP. There's some description from the README. Okay, so take this README and take this description. literally took it from the README, right? What is the main file? It is going to be the entry point, and it has said that it is index.js. Technically, it's not. So let me remove that. I am going to say that this is of the type module. So you have common JS or module. Module is the new one where you can do import syntax. Okay. Uh, oh, it's already defined as common JS here. So I'm going to delete that. Bugs and homepage, it automatically wrote it for me. Keywords, author, sure. Okay, perfect. It wrote most of it automatically for me. Another thing that I'm going to define is the engines. So I'm going to say that it supports Node.js more than equal to 20. Okay. So my Node version is currently 20.19.3. So everything that we build should work on this Node version. Okay. Also, by the way, everyone, I will be moving on and off the screen in between so that you have the most viewport of what you can see on the screen if you're following along. Okay. So, example right now, I should move off the screen so that you can see most of the things. Next, we will have some scripts. There is a test script, but we don't care about it. Things that we do care about would be, let's say, starting the dev. Let's say just right. Let's try start with the simple one. Start. Okay. Our start command. This is going to use TSX. TSX is nothing but a TypeScript executable library. Okay. So it allows you to kind of do a node run. Okay. It allows you to run Node.js. Ah, don't worry about it. Uh, it's going to be very simple, very small. So it should be all right. Okay, cool. So yeah, a TypeScript. So currently to run a file, okay, to run a Node file, you would use the Node executable. Okay, so Node space something. But since I have said that this is going to be a type module, which is the newer syntax, import export syntax, rather than the require syntax, I need something which understand, and I will be writing .ts file and not .js files. I need a tool which can convert it on the fly from TypeScript to kind of JavaScript, which Node can understand, and that is where TSX comes in. Okay, so TSX, we will have a folder called as server, and in that we will have index.ts. So let me create a folder called server, and inside that let me create a file called index.ts. So all I have said, oops, no worries. All I have said is that whenever this command, this script is invoked, this command is called. In that case, run the tsx executable and uh, kind of execute this file at this particular path. We'll also have a start MCP command, which will start the MCP server. Now, as I said, I'm going to rely on standard IO protocol. Okay. Nothing too heavy about STDIO protocol. All it is that literally go to this file and run whatever is in this file locally rather than communicating with a URL. Next, we will need some dependencies, are basically the main libraries, and we will have some dev dependencies. These are helpful to developers, but these won't go, let's say, somewhere else. These are not required in production, for example. In production, you would do something else, possibly. So in our dev dependencies, of course, we need the library, which allows to create the which we'll be using to create the model context protocol, and it was called as model context protocol /SDK. Okay. And the latest version seems to be 1.29.0, so that is perfectly fine. For saving our data, multiple ways to save data. Okay, um, a MCP server can connect to anything, right? It can read from a JSON file, it can read from a database. Technically, it doesn't care where the data comes from, as long as if it sends a query, it needs to receive a response back in a certain structure. That's it. So that's what. But in our case, for us to search through something quickly, SQLite is better. Okay, searching data. Okay, searching text, it's better on SQLite because they have spent like years developing it and ensuring that it is faster in most of the conditions. In like 90% of the cases, it is very fast. It allows saving the data. It allows reading from data faster. It allows you to search through data faster, depending on how your SQL query looks like. So, example in this case, if I just search for install, it seems to be on every of them. If I do depths, it seems to be again on every of them themselves. Oh, wait, is this running? Oh, sorry. No, that's why I was like, themselves is not in every one of them. Did I stop it? I guess I did. Okay, this is the one that I pre-built. Okay. Okay, now let's call themselves. So it allows you to kind of search through data quickly. And you could do the opposite. You can say that I want minus of themselves. So anything without the word themselves will be shown here. Let's say I want not TypeScript. Okay. Uh, I guess these descriptions actually don't contain the word TypeScript. Maybe that's why. What about minus of read? So then we end up with only two of them. This doesn't have the word read in the description or in the title. This doesn't have it. So we are using SQLite just because it is better in terms of everything that we want to do: saving to database, reading from database, searching through database. So why use anything else? And the library we will be using is better dash SQLite 3. And let's go with the latest 12.8.0. We need course. Course allows us to basically do cross origin request. So example, our server will be running on one URL on port, let's say, assume 5172. Our UI will be running on a different port, 5173. And by default, these requests will be blocked. Okay. You cannot come like your server is going to protect itself and say that I am not going to allow request coming from another endpoint unless you specifically say that it is okay to receive those requests. And that is where the course library will help us. Next is Express. This is the Express server, basically a Node.js, a, a better code writing, no, a better syntax of Node.js is in Express. Okay. Also, it's smaller compared to like using raw Node.js. So that. And this is Zod. I think this is the latest version of Zod as well. So using latest version of all the libraries that we have. Dev dependencies, these are required, not required, but these are helpful in terms of, let's say, getting type support. Okay. So types slash better dash SQLite 3. So this will show us what are the different methods or functions available for better SQLite 3. So if we try, like it will basically throw TypeScript errors. Not going to go too much into that. We have types even for course. We have, of course, types for Express. So, well, very interestingly, like it's very poetic, right? Express is a library that we are going to use, but for us to know the structure of the library, we have the types, and technically that's what MCP is. Uh, there's a URL that we can call to get weather data, okay, but to know how to call it and the structure of the response is where MCP servers have those structured responses. Yeah, I just found that very poetic right now. Very lame. Fair enough. Well, of course, we'll need TSX to run our TypeScript executables, node executables technically, and TypeScript for type support because JavaScript is not a typed language. So we'll use something which is a superset of JavaScript. Superset? Would it be superset? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, okay. So we have all of these. Let me create a dot get ignore, or actually let me create it in a minute. So these are all the dependencies or the libraries that we will need, dev dependencies, which will help us use these libraries better. Zord has uh, their inbuilt types coming, so we don't need to install a different library for it. Oh, I should install a library for node types to get types for Node.js. Okay, so this is more or less all the libraries that we will need for our server. We have written two scripts as well of what to do. Index.ts is currently empty, but that is fine. Okay, let's create the UI folder as well at this exact same time. I'm going to use Vite plus React, my go-to, I guess everyone's go-to these days. So there you, I should have sent the other URL. Yes, how to get started. Okay. So I'm going to go with the easiest way possible of how to get started. I want to create a React TypeScript UI project, and we can use exactly this particular command to create one. Okay. So I'm going to copy this command. I'm going to paste it here. The only thing is I don't want to use the Vue.js template. I want to use the React-ts, React TypeScript template. So I'm going to say a template is React-ts. And what will be the name of my folder or my app? It doesn't need to be my Vue app. It should be something that I want it to be. And in my case, I want it to be UI. Okay. So what will this do? This will run, like, it will install the latest version of Vite. It will create a UI folder, and it will ensure that it is a React TypeScript folder. So it will give me the starter code for React TypeScript project. And before I hit enter, let me copy this so that anyone who is following along, you can run this locally on your own as well. It's the correct command. I should have tried it. Yeah, okay, perfect. Install with npm and start now. Yes, please. And it created this UI folder with everything, like all the minimal number of files that are needed. It has installed everything, and it is now up and running on 5173. There we go. So this is the bare minimum page uh, that gets created when we create a Vite plus React TypeScript project. Okay, now you can explore Vite, you can explore React Dev, and everything. I'm going to be very cheeky, and I'm going to take this git ignore. Why do I have to? Oh, this is the one that I created. Let me delete that. I'm going to move this git ignore to the root of the project. Okay, there we go. So the git ignore goes into the root of the project. Uh, Yeah, logs should be deleted. Node modules. Yeah, dist SSR. Uh, I'll possibly have a dist test server. So I want to ignore that as well. A data folder. Well, actually, let me put that down below. We don't want to publish these folders on Git. So that is why I am putting them here. So these are all the folders that do not go on GitHub, not Git, sorry, GitHub. Okay. And also Git can stop tracking these and it makes life easier. We don't end up with like a lot of files and folders to track because node modules is huge. We installed like 5 libraries and we ended up with it. Actually, how many libraries did it install? 2 dependencies, ton of dev dependencies, and we end up with that like huge uh, node modules. So yeah, just to avoid all of those, we should not push them to GitHub. Okay, do not push node modules to GitHub. Now that I have done this, things that I want to change, let's do that first. I don't know if you have joined. If you have never joined my previous streams, then let me tell you, I prefer to have my folders, like my dependencies and dev dependencies, exact. Okay, it makes life way easier than you would imagine. Because nowadays, if you like do a quick search, like Axios vulnerability, I guess this was the latest. Okay, there was a supply chain attack, and 2 versions of Axios were compromised. Uh, uh, uh. Yeah, these 2 versions of Axios were compromised. 1.4 or 1.14.1 and 0.30.4. Okay, so these two were compromised, and like they were installing something, some Trojan, which allows remote access to your machine. So assume if you had those caret and tilde symbols, every time you run npm install, uh, or somehow you install a newer library and you run install, it would go and fetch the latest version or one version up based on the command. I hate that. I really don't like that, because then I end up exposing, or internally it will update the library version without even me knowing. So I prefer to update the library versions that I know about. Uh, Except ESLint, everything else can be upgraded. Don't want to upgrade ESLint because, well, in version 10, not everything works. I'm kind of waiting for it, waiting for version 10 to have more support. Types React, it's fine. React DOM is fine. That's the latest version, anyways. Plugin, that is again latest version. Ignoring all the ESLint ones, globals, latest again. TypeScript latest again, TypeScript ESLint ignored, and this one 8.0.8. Let's go with that. Hmm. So ESLint and related, I have ignored. Everything else I have updated. What's the latest React version? Oh, 2 days ago there was a minor patch. I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, there we go. And now I will just delete the node modules. I will delete the package lock and cd into the UI folder and run npm install again to recreate my package lock.json and the node modules. While that is happening, any questions, anyone? Ah, clear. Okay, got those back. Let me see if everything still runs. So if I do npm run dev command, okay, so these scripts are already pre-written thanks to the template that we used. So I don't need to worry about them. Let's go. Yep, looks all fine. No errors whatsoever. And that is always great. Okay, things that I am going to now remove. Let me go into the public folder and we can remove these fav icons, not needed. Uh, from source, I'll remove the assets. From app.css, let me remove all the CSS that I don't need, kind of doing a cleaning. Actually, technically, I don't even need this. App.tsx, it has a lot. I'll remove all of it and just do very simple, or let me call it mini memory MCP. Index.css. We will change most of it. So I'm going to just delete this for now. And here in main.tsx, everything should be fine. Let's go back. This is what we end up with. Okay. A very simple page with mini memory MCP written. Okay. Now, some CSS that we would need or slash would be nice to have. Let me do one thing. Let me just copy paste those. Hmm. I think that would be better rather than me writing the whole CSS down because, well, technically it wasn't written by me. I started writing and AI tools understand what you're doing. And they gave me suggestions. Let me go into index CSS and just put all the CSS together. And that's it. This is what we end up with. What else? I guess that is fine. Uh, if you saw me write RAFCE, okay, RAFCE, and it gives you this kind of prompt which creates this minimal, that is because of a VS Code extension. Okay, I think it is called as ES6 or snippets. Let me search for snippet. Yeah, like one of these two, they help me do that. Okay, kind of write short forms and then they give me the whole uh, code. So it's either this or the other one. I don't know which one. uh, I'm not doing any advertising or anything. I'm just saying like these make your life simple. I think it's the other one. It's the ES7 one, I think. Yeah. So let me share that with you if you are interested in having short forms for like instead of writing these, I don't know, 7 lines. Oh, there's a question here. How do people protect against these compromisations after they have installed the version compromise? Does changing version enough? Uh, Depends, right? Depends on what happened. Assume that you upgraded or you didn't even manually upgrade. Somehow it got installed because you had that caret or tilde and it went one version above internally and you deployed it for the world to see. Now on your system it has already been affected. Okay, step one is like you have already been affected. So understand what was the blast radius of this whole thing. Like it installs a Trojan on your system. I think it was installing OpenClaw on your system, something like that, if I remember it correctly. Let me see. Yeah, a remote access Trojan. So not OpenClaw, but something like, something that makes your system available to anyone. Okay. Yeah. So in this case, once you understand what is happening, so it is like literally a command and control server and then it installs like some payloads and it replaces its own package JSON with clean decoy, and there won't be any indication or something, something, something. But at the end of it, at some point, you have basically said that my system is visible to everyone. Step one, disconnect. Okay. Step two, identify things that might have been installed. Anything that is running on your system will be on a particular port. Okay. All everything that is running will be on a particular port. Uh, how to check? Uh, 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 Let me see. I think I can do it here. Let me create a new one. And you could do something like this. Asks me for password. And yep, these are the things that are kind of listening on the system. These are like open ports, stuff like that. They're communicating outside. You can check for a specific port. So what you want to do, or even like if you go to your Mac applications, I think activity monitor, I guess it's called. Yeah, activity monitor, because that also will tell you all the processes that are running on your system, uh, what how much CPU they're using and everything, how much memory what is using, where they're connecting to network, everything will be here, right? So things that you don't know, kill those, okay, or possibly kill everything, all of the processes, and then you start it in a sandboxed manner without anything. Like you can, I think, start Mac in a safety mode. I think even same in the Windows, you can start it in a safety mode, and then you install one thing at a time, so that you know you are kind of reducing what is exposed to the internet in this case. So you have step one, disconnect. Step two, clean. That's the only other thing that you could do. If you could identify, like based on these researches, they tell about okay, what is happening, what is running, some job that I don't know, something it will talk about. Okay, like this is the new thing that would be running on your system that you wouldn't know about. Uh, if you could find that and delete that somehow, that's what you would do. The version of dependencies, like how you saw your question, what was that? I I don't know really. I thought it was built in on VS Code. I think in VS Code package JSON it's built in. I don't remember installing extension, but also I've been using this machine for like 6 years now. So really, in that point, if I have installed it, I don't really remember. Possibly in npm IntelliSense, but no, this auto completes imports. I don't think it shows you which version. I really don't remember. Sorry. Okay, cool. How does the API work? Oh, sorry, we have not started building it. Been talking too much. Uh, okay, one step back. Actually, not one step back. We are currently in the root folder. I have created a package JSON, but I also need a node modules in the root for our server. So let me do npm install here as well. Okay, there we go. These are the server dependencies on the root folder, and then we have the server. We have the UI folder with node modules inside, which are the UI dependencies, and we have run our UI, and it seems to be running up and up correctly. So I guess this is the perfect time to let me do the first push. So you can copy paste everything, okay? At least the CSS variables. Everything else you can technically create on your own. Just the CSS variables, uh, you can copy paste that. So let me do a git add all, git commit dash m. This is feed, uh, add depend dependencies. Add package dependencies and git push. And there we go. That's the first of the many commits and many times that I send this out. Let's go to the next bit. So let's start by building our server, of course. Okay. We'll start by building our server because that would be easier. We don't have to create, we don't have a lot of things to do in server. Uh, yeah. Okay. Let's start. We'll start from index.ts file and let's start by setting up a few things. I am going to do, oh, this is off. Let's start by all files. So now it will kind of give suggestions. So we will start by importing something from at model context protocol slash SDK slash server slash MCP dot JS. Okay. And how do I know this one? It is on the website. So if you go there, there we go. Okay. And all we will import from here is MCP server. Now, because this is typed, I can go and check if I control click or command click on it. It tells me what is it like this class MCP server, what are things that it has. It has access to methods like experimental to connect. Okay. And it has some description, the JS doc description. This is for us humans to understand and even for AI tools to read and understand because all it is a description, right? So to connect, you can do MCP server.connect. Then you have to provide the transport protocol. Now the transport protocol is typed as well. Let's see, it has start, stop, on error, and session ID, on message, set protocol version. So you can have like versioned APIs. Okay, versioning your APIs is like important because if you add a new version or if you update something, users can still connect to the previous version if you want. Okay. So that is what we are going to import right now. It is kind of grayed out because it is not used, but that is fine. We will okay, let's do one more thing. Let's create a variable is stdio. Okay, and is stdio is us checking if the command or the script command, okay, if that includes the dash dash stdio. If it does, then we do something. If it doesn't, then we do something else. Okay, so is stdio, this depends on when the process is running. I have no idea where it imported that from. Process, this is node.js inbuilt thing, dot argv. Okay, and dot includes stdio. If it does, I installed types node, right? Or did I not? I did. Oh, node to the types field in your ts config. Ah, maybe I should create one at the root. tsconfig.json. And in this one, I will say that the compiler options are going to be, you need to target ES22. Okay. The module is going to be node next. Okay. So basically take the latest version of node. uh, uh, target the latest version. The module resolution is going to be node next as well. What else? I will say that keep it strict as true. Skip the library checks. Okay, don't care about the libraries, only care about what we build. The output directory will be a dist dash server. So this is where we'll output things. And the root directory, okay, what is the root directory which this one should target? It should target the server folder that we have created. So this folder, and we need to add it to include. In include, we say that include the server folder. So our TypeScript should run on these. One more thing I think we'll need to add is yes module interop to true. So this is for the newer version where we have our, what's the word? We set, yeah, using the import export syntax. And now TypeScript, we'll have to tell it that, the code that you transpile will be using the import export syntax. Yeah, namespace import. I think that's how I read it. So now after this, I think it should be fine. I don't think there should be anything else. Maybe I just need to reload. Why is this not happy? It's a bit annoying. Yeah. Okay, ignoring that bit. Let's move ahead. I don't think there's anything else that I can do which will help me save this. I have done this. I have added types to your TS. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, tsconfig.json. Moving on to the next bits. Okay, so now that we have started our index.ts, uh, is this, let's also define another one, const port, that is equal to, we can provide it or we can just do parse int of process dot env dot port if that exists. Else, okay, if that is null, for example, then we will say go to 5172 and parse this as a decimal number. Okay, that's what you're doing here. Nothing too major. Oh, process is now on this. No, no, no. Yeah, this one. Hmm. Okay, moving on. Process and port. So whatever you see, these red squiggly lines, this is just because for some reason it is not able to understand what my types are. It should have. I don't think I've missed out on anything. Uh, okay, the next thing is that if it is going to be a standard IO protocol, then in that case we do something. So as I said, like if it is standard IO, in that case we will do const server equals to new MCP server. Okay, and this needs two things. It needs the server info and some options. So let's provide it with the server info and options. We can say, like, there are multiple things that we can provide, but I'll go with the bare minimum. Oops, how did I end up with that? The name of the MCP server, and this will be a mini dash memory MCP server. Let's version it to be 1.0.0, and that's it. Okay. Then we will call the register memory tools that we'll need to import later, or actually kind of create later. So let's ignore that and let's go to the next bit. Const transport is going to be new stdio server transport. Okay, very simple. Then we will await the server dot connect to this transport. Then we can write on the console. So we can do process. Oh, can I do that? Ah, ignoring. Still ignored. Process.env still. Okay. Uh, where was I? Process dot stderr dot write, and we can say, yep, MCP mini memory MCP server. Let's say mini memory MCP server is running in standard IO mode, and if the user does, like, let's say control C, in that case, so process dot on, if there is a signal interrupt, in that case we will kind of, it's too much to write. I'll just do one thing. I'll say exit. Okay, and we can say exit with code 0. Guess this should be nearly it. We can write the other one, the else bit, but for the if bit, I think this is good to go. Let's see what is our trans start MCP. Let's try this and see if what happens. Npm run start MCP, and there we go. It prints out something. Mini memory MCP server is running in stdio mode. That is good. Control C, gone. I think we can, like, the suggestion that it was giving us, where we could kind of write on sig int, we can do async and yeah, all of this. But server.disconnect is not a thing. Server.close exists. So let's try it again. It's running, control C, shutting down mini memory MCP server, and then this happens. Okay. So I guess this is better, right? Because then it also logs it down, kind of. And yeah, perfect. So this is our initial, very simple, starting it up and kind of closing it down, shutting it down. What happens if we run the start command? Just the start command. Let's try that. Not the start MCP. It start stops, done. Okay, because there is nothing that kind of keeps it running. Okay, so it's not connecting to anything because it only connects when it has the dash dash standard IO, stdio. Okay, perfect. Am I missing? No, perfect. This is still annoying me. I don't know why it is not happy with whatever. Did all of this? Come on. Okay. Anyways, moving on to the next bit. Let's write the else bit. Okay. So the if bit works, definitely. We saw it working. The else bit is in kind of the HTTP version. Okay. So currently our MCP is connected, but there is nothing to do. Okay. It doesn't do much or doesn't do anything technically. So or and also we cannot see it. If we build a UI, our UI needs to connect to our backend in some mode, right? So we are going to say that it connects to our backend in a, a RESTful API mode. Hmm, okay. Let's start with the else part. I'm going to say const app equals express, and express is not imported, so let us import express from express. There we go. Wait, this solved it. Really? It was waiting for me to. Weird. Too weird. I don't understand, like why would, if I have manually installed node types node, why does it not adhere to it? It's so annoying. Anyways, but now it has solved it. I've done everything, but still. Okay, const app equals to express. No, not all of this. I would prefer to write it kind of, most of it at least. Then, as I said, normally it would be blocked. Uh, it would block any kind of request that is coming from other port. But I am going to say that course is fine. Like I allow it to receive requests from any other port. Okay, you can be strict about where it receives the request from, where your server receives the requests from. Okay, so you can set a lot of details in here. I think you can set max age, origin. Okay, so this is the origin. By default it is star, which means from everywhere, but you can say that only receive requests from localhost, for example. Okay, or only receive requests from wherever your uh, server is deployed, or sorry, wherever your UI is deployed. So if your UI is deployed on Vercel, for example, okay, and you will have a URL, you can say that the server can only receive or is only allowed to receive requests and respond to those requests from the Vercel URL, or from Netlify URL, or from AWS URL. So you can kind of pick and choose where the requests come from. Okay, so you can define the origin. Right now by default it is everywhere. Okay, which allowed headers, so you can say if only the headers contain uh, a special key. Okay, then, okay, if the headers contain, like, if there's a credentials or not, uh, what's the max age that you can receive the requests let's say for 10 minutes only, something like that. I mean, it's too many options. I'll not do all of that. I'm going to go with the bare minimum defaults just so that we can get ahead. But yeah, a good practice would be to define where you can receive the request from, where you can respond, where are you allowing your server to receive requests from and respond. And that's how you improve security of your system. Okay, otherwise anyone can call your server, and possibly that's not what you want. You want it to receive requests only from specific places so that no one can do a DDoS attack on your system. uh, Next is app.express app.use, sorry, express.json just for JSON requests. uh, what else? Okay, think the other major thing that we want to do is we'll have to register, like we'll have to build a few things. Let me think what can we do that would be easiest. Let's just do a very simple console log, right? Console log around the idea that app dot listen on a port number and console log something. Okay, that is the easiest. And on shutdown, there we go. So this is in the else condition. So that means now if I do the npm run start, that should technically go to the else bit, right? And yep, there it is, running on port 5172. So if I go to localhost colon 5172, there is nothing. We have not written any kind of get request around what should happen if a user reaches here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's write a get request, a request, at least one request for the for like when the user gets to the forward slash or the base or the root route root root kind of. Yes. So I'm going to do app dot get on the forward slash. There'll be request and response and just send this much. Okay, yes. We'll only send this detail. We can do dot status of 200 and then send a JSON, which is more formatted, okay, which is more structured. Now, if I go here, I need to stop and restart my server. But now we'll have a proper JSON response. Mini memory MCP server is running. Okay. We can be creative about it. Like everything can have kind of a proper status code. And there we go. We receive a status of OK, and message is this. Okay, that tells us that our mini memory MCP server is up and running. Cool. There we go. So that's a very basic one API endpoint. And also we have the standard IO protocol of MCP server up and running, and nothing much here, right? Nothing much going on. Let's go to the next bit. Let me push this. And there we go. You should have the latest code and everything. Um, standard IO and rest. Now coming back. So what's the next thing that we should build, which will make our life easier and you will be able to see something? Uh, we should build routes. Okay. Routes.ts, this is where we'll have all our routes created. We will need another file called as memory-store.ts. This is where all the memory related functionalities would be. Okay. What else will we need? We will need a db.ts. This is where all the database related stuff would be. And of course, we will need a mcp.ts, mcp tools.ts. Okay, this is where all the MCP tools, or think of it like MCP endpoints would be. Okay, so you'll need all of these. Let's start by creating what a memory would look like. Let's start from memory store. So we will import something from crypto library. So crypto library is cryptographic library. It allows one thing which is very nice is randomly generated IDs. Okay, every ID will be random and unique. Next, let's export, or let's define our types. So export type memory. Okay, this is our basic memory. So what does our memory contain? Our memory contains an ID, of course. It will contain a title. It will contain some content or kind of a description. It will contain tags. Okay, that would be string array, of course, multiple tags, comma separated. It will have when it was created at. Okay, and keep it string. And we'll have an updated at. Okay, also a string. So this is our basic memory. One memory will be this. Okay, just like these are the things. Now you can enhance on it, you can improve on it, you can add much more details. You can say like it contains project name. Okay, that always needs to be there. Or you can say it contains kind of what type of memory it is. Is it a global memory? Is it a local memory? Is it a project memory? Okay, project specific memory. uh, so all of these details will help your uh, AI tools make a decision. When you say follow my global instructions, then it knows that it needs to search for a memory which has a tag of global, or not tag but something else. uh, yeah, so as much details as possible. I'm going for very basic. Everything for me would be a string. Next, I'm going to create a memory row. So one row for my memory. I'm thinking, what should I can do everything that a memory has. The only thing, so memory row, this is a row in our database. Okay, so it will have ID string, of course, title string, content string. The tags, that is a string array, we need to kind of let it to be one string. Okay, created at would be string, updated at would be string. So technically we can just take this, copy paste it, but instead of string array, which is multiple strings, which is more of a UI thing for saving to our database. This would be kind of a JSON encoded array of strings. Okay, I can do this, or we can type this whole thing. Okay, we can reuse the types. So we can say type of a memory row is equal to, from the memory type, omit out the tags and create a new tags, which is just going to be a string. Oops. So we can either do, so this is one row in database, and all we have done is said that in database everything will be stored as a string. Since we have our root or the core memory type, we will reuse that for the row. But tags cannot be, like string array won't be a thing in our database every in a row. So all we'll do is just JSON encode the array of strings. Okay, so let me get rid of all of this, and we have a type memory row. Okay, let's create a quick function. uh to memory row. Do I need that? Okay, maybe. Or let's do the other one, row to memory. Okay, so from row to memory, this is fine, and all we will do is take all of this. Okay, so row to memory. Okay, we take one database row, convert it to memory, we read everything, but in the tags which was saved as a JSON of string. Okay, a JSON encoded array of string, we parse it back. Okay, and now this is going to be a string array, right? We have said that the input will be a memory row and the output is going to be memory. Okay, everything else follows the exact same pattern, string 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 string. Just the tags we'll need to parse it. Okay, so now let's add a small description here. Parse a memory row from database into a memory object. So now if I hover over it, you will have this description, so anytime you are using it, you know what it is. uh, and there's the other one that Copilot is suggesting me: convert a memory object into a memory row for storage in the database. So in this case, this does the exactly opposite. Okay, that one is doing from row to memory. This is doing memory to row. Uh, Anything else? Oh, I want to create a function called as now, which will give me the current or the current time, and all it will return is, yep, this is good. And what? No, not this. Stars. So let's see. This is going to generate the current timestamp in ISO format. So if I run this on localhost, let's go here. If I run this, this is what the output is going to be. Okay, so that is why I stored the created at and updated at as strings. Okay, because if I just do new date, this is what I end up with. I need something which is more specific and readable. Okay, cool. So this is our the now bit. Anything else that we need? Du- 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 du. Okay, the other one is parsing our query. Okay, so a user can search through the database and they can read the contents. Okay, search through string contents and read stuff out. They can filter stuff out. Okay, they can filter out, let's say, as you saw me filtering out, for example, uh, what was I filtering out? New or database or something like that. npm. Okay, npm node.js. So in that, in our UI we were filtering out some stuff. So that search format, so whenever a user types something in search, we need to convert it to be something which I can pass to my database so that it can search through my SQL database. Okay, so basically, we need to parse the uh, query. Okay, and in SQL there is a thing called as FTS5. Okay, full text search 5, which allows you to do a full text search. So FTS5, it allows you to kind of full text search in your database. So when a user is searching for npm or node in the UI, we need to take whatever the user is typing and search for that particular thing, matching or, you know, matching or like or something, or the nearest or closest match to whatever the search term the user is typing. So we need to kind of format it better. Okay, so we need to format it. Also, that negative sign, minus sign, should filter it out. Okay, so if I say minus npm, it means that give me all the results where the search term does not contain the word npm. Okay, so we need to build a parser for it. So I'm going to create a function parse fts query. It takes the raw string and it is going to output two things. Okay, I want it to output, let me create a type for it. uh, it outputs fts5, which is going to be a single string, and it is going to parse out negative negatives, which would be a string array. Okay, so it outputs two things. Now let's do it. Step one, let's kind of split it into parts. Okay, and similarly for negatives. Perfect. Now, what else? Okay, let's say, mm, let remaining equals to raw dot trim out any spaces. Okay, then the next thing is going, not even trim out, don't trim out actually, just let's take it literally raw string. Const phrase checks equals, let's see, it is going to search for everything, all the strings globally. Perfect. Now fine, that's fine. And let match is going to be of type something matches the string that the user has typed, or null. So this is good. Next bit, while match. Okay, this is good. So what we are saying is that from the phrase regex. Okay. uh, Kind of execute a search string on the, should we do it on the remaining or we can do it on the raw? Technically they are the same thing, but I guess not same thing, but we start from the raw. Mm. And as till the time it is not null, we are doing an execute on it. Let's split it out and say parts dot push. Mm. Match of one, and then I can just do it in line here. So remove all of this, replace that bit out, and there we go. Okay, perfect. And outside we can say remaining dot replace that phrase regex dot trim. Okay, perfect. Okay. Uh, so what are we doing? We're trying to search through database. Okay. While searching through the database, step one is we are searching for quoted phrases. Okay. And we are saying that try to do an exact search for quoted phrases. So if I say I only want the word npm, okay, uh, then anything that might contain the word npm somewhere else needs to be kind of ignored. Okay. We specifically run search for exact terms. But let's say if I want to search for coding, okay, and I have typed the word cod in that scenario, anything, any description or title which contains the word or those three characters plus something, so coding, code base, uh, code mon, whatever, okay, these keywords, all of those should be in the results. But if I do a double quote and say only search for exactly cod, okay, maybe it's a call of duty, it could be a cash on delivery, something that I want to do a specific match. Okay, that is what we were doing here. And now let's go to the hmm, maybe I can, let's leave it be. Now for the remaining parts, uh what can we do? Okay, what is this doing? So it's saying that for the remaining ones, split it out, fine. If it starts with a negative, then push and slice it out. Okay, else something. It's too much. So let's do this, but let me delete this. Okay. For const parts of remaining, if part dot starts with negative and part dot length is more than one, okay, in this case we can do negatives dot push. Hmm. Okay, fine. Or the harder way, slice one dot two lowercase. Hmm. Okay, better. And if so, this is our if, and in the else bit, we are going to say const clean equals to part dot replace I have no idea what that regex is, but I want to replace anything that is not a word. Okay, I want to replace anything that is not a word. We don't want to search for punctuations basically. If clean, in this case, parts dot push clean plus star. Okay, so this is the part which allows you to prefix match for partial words like COD matches with code, comma, coding, comma, let's say code base, etc. All of these. Okay, that's what we're doing. And in here, yes, clear out, clean the part by removing non-word characters and converting to lowercase. In here, clean out the negative part. Uh, hmm, yes. Okay. Anything else? And what is this doing? This whole function? This is not generating a new unique ID. Sorry. Hmm, perfect. Now why is this angry? What did I do? It was okay before. What happened a second ago? Okay. Anyways, I think this is fine. If it's not happy, I can just say, you know what? Starts here, ends here. Don't think there's a typo anywhere. Like 99% case, there is no typo. Oh, sorry, I'm not returning anything. That's the problem. Oops. I still haven't written the. mm, It's it needs a return, but at nowhere I have written a return. I need to write a return like this. Perfect. So we are saying that it will return an FTS5 query, which will be joining everything, and it will return the negatives. Perfect. So now this one returns everything that we need. And I just realized we are out of time. Okay. So I guess this is the perfect time to take a break. Let me push these. Git add all, git commit. We created memory store functions and git push. Okay, I don't think there is anything else that we can do right now. Okay, so it is time to ask you all for feedback. Okay, so there we go. Here's the link in the chat. Please do provide feedback. Any sort of constructive criticism is very much welcome. Uh, this was MCP server part one. Okay, so you can just search for MCP, build a persistent memory MCP server part one. Part two is right after. Okay, so we'll take it's 1:05 right now. Let's take a 15-minute break and then come back to continue building it. Okay, so 15-minute break, then we will be back and we will continue to build the persistent MCP memory server. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I have pushed the latest code. Let's be back in 15 minutes. I will start the stream in 10 minutes, but you can take additional 5 minutes break. Uh, take a look at the code, copy paste, or you can use any AI tools to understand it. Let me see if I can add some more comments around so that it's easier to understand what's going on. Yeah, that's it. Cool. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in a bit. Cheers. Bye bye. Oh, sorry. Any questions, anyone? Sorry, I forgot to ask this. Okay, I guess no questions. Thank you so much and see you all in a bit. Bye bye.